I spotted something. Looking past my ribbon wall and shelves holding my volleyball trophies, there was a box. I set down my gym bag and curiously walked towards it. Covered in a sort of rough brown paper bag-like material and topped with a sticky note, there was a gift. For me. It was heavy, but only about 6 inches in width, 2 inches in length, and 3 inches in height. I read the note first. Dear my 3-time state champ, congrats. I wanted to get you a gift marking the end of a successful season. I'm so proud of you and your accomplishments. You deserve it. I love you, Dad. I peered in and saw a black nylon strap that was frayed at the ends, a silver plastic body with a cracked charcoal leather band, and a glass lens with a thin layer of dust floating on top. My very own 35mm film camera. I have never shot with a manual camera before, but I have experience with video cameras, digital cameras, and Polaroids. Can't be too different, right? I know that the camera has the ability to change the blurriness and the amount of light that is let in, but that was about it. I went right to Google. Upon further investigation, I learned that the aperture, or how blurry everything else is in the picture that isn't being focused on, is called the f-stop. The shutter speed can be changed, which changes the length of time in which a picture is being recorded. Lastly, the ISO, I found, determines how much light is let in. Sounds simple enough. It was like having a team with the ability for success. I just had to put together the winning lineup. I decided that this was probably a good enough basis to begin taking pictures. I tried to think of where a good place would be to set myself up for success. I wanted a place that was well lit with natural sunlight, somewhere with staple scenery that was meant to be photographed, and somewhere with an array of colors. Soon I arrived at the museum. I carefully examined everything, paying attention to the angles, the light, what was in the background, symmetry, the focus, perspective, everything. Just how we had studied other team strategies, I was observing my opponents. 2.5 hours later, I had filled up the 24 exposure roll. The next step was development. I got to Keller's, one of the 2 film developing stores in Anchorage, asked for prints, gave them my $16.95, and waited. About 45 minutes later, even though they said it would take an hour, I asked if my film was ready. The employee walked into the lab and came back with an envelope. I ran to my car and teared it open. I felt my face go hot. My cheeks dropped and my eyebrows raised. Wait, what? I couldn't believe it. Why were they so white? Every single picture white. My researching, my enthusiasm, my efforts, my $16.95, my gift had all formed overexposed, light-ruined pictures. Camera 1, Sierra 0. I had put in the training, and for the first time it hadn't paid off. I experienced failure like never before. I quit, I thought to myself. Film is not for me. I'll just have to accept the fact that I can't be good at all sports. I headed home, planning to drown out my failure with some Ben & Jerry's. As I was eating the ice cream, my dad walked in. When he saw me, his face lit up, and with a brightness in his voice, he said to me, "Hey, honey, did you find the box?" I simply exhaled. I explained what had happened, and he could undoubtedly hear the defeat in my voice. He told me to try again, and that this wasn't something that a coach could fix or something that I need to be looking at so technically. Photography isn't something that's meant to be so strategic. It's not a sport, and that I'm going about it the wrong way. It is something expressive. There shouldn't be any competition, only harmony between me, my camera, and nature. I've never disappointed my dad, and I didn't want to start disappointing him then. I loaded up another roll and headed to the backyard. No longer thinking, I started to take pictures of things that I liked, that I wanted to capture, that I wanted to remember. I wasn't thinking about anybody else. It was my time to be selfish and use all the exposures for my benefit. Within 20 minutes, the roll was filled, and within another hour, I was back home with my second developed roll. Slightly less hopeful than the first time around, I opened the envelope. What I saw wasn't quite what I was expecting. About half of the pictures looked as if they were taken at night, but the other half were very, very clear. In some of the photos, I could see yellow gooey sap on the tree trunks, and I could see the glistening water droplets on blades of grass. On a few, I could even see dust in the air and a lens flare from the sun. The pictures had a beautiful blend of grayscale, color, texture, and contrast. I got past my failure. When I had stopped thinking about photography as winning or losing, I produced something beautiful. My eyes were opened to a brand new type of production. My life, having been so filled with competition, I never learned how to do something without a finite outcome. Not working towards a title or an award, Something very new to me, I learned was important. Success is not always determined by a win or a loss, but it is often measured by the pride that accompanies the product.